Back in March of 2020, I did my first park vlog at my new home park of Six Flags over Georgia on opening day. Today is Sunday, January 3rd, and I'm going back for what is effectively the 2020 season finale. So in this vlog, my goal is to reflect on the content of the opening day vlog, as well as reflect on just the last 9 months in general. So first thing is, as I walk in, I notice that the piece of track that is missing from Mindbender is still missing, just like it was in March. So it looks like there's some paint work that's been done. That's about it. It's pretty cold today. Right now it's in the mid 40s. I think back in March of 2020, it was also in the mid 40s. So weather is the same on closing day as it was on opening day. Say hello to Mindbender, soon to be known as the Riddler Mindbender. Pretty big line of cars waiting to get in. Some of that could be because out of the 4 toll booths that we have open, only 2 of them are actually functioning. And the poor lady that was trying to scan my pass was just having the hardest time because her phone was not working, or maybe my pass isn't reading, I don't know. This is still one of my favorite entrance plazas to any park. Something else that changed from my opening day video is that as a Six Flags Diamond Elite member, I now get 3 skip the line tickets on every visit instead of 2, which was in response to keeping my membership active while all Six Flags parks were closed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. First ride of the day, Twisted Cyclone, here we go. Looks like it's gonna be a pretty short wait. Profile. What are you gonna do? Also, we're running 1 train today, just like we did at the beginning of the 2020 season. So we got that going for us, which is nice. So I remember how I made a remark in my March vlog about how Twisted Cyclone was my second RMC, with Steel Vengeance being the first. And since then, I've been on, Lightning Rod, Outlaw Run, Storm Chaser, New Texas Giant, Wonder Woman, Golden Lasso, well, and of course my current favorite, Iron Rattler. And I know it's kind of like the jarring experience to go from Steel Vengeance to Twisted Cyclone, but throughout the year I've really come to appreciate what Twisted Cyclone has to offer. I think it has the best back row drop in the entire park, and that 1-2 punch of airtime with the wave turn, followed by the airtime hill beside the station. It's highly enjoyable. So I agree with those that say Twisted Cyclone is too short to be elite, but I think it safely will sit in my top 10% of coasters for a long time to come. So as I look back on the last 9 months, Georgia Scorcher has really grown on me. I was about to ride. However, they are experiencing technical difficulties. So Daredevil Dive is still known for its short but slow moving line, and it also seems to suffer a lot of downtime. In fact, yeah, it's not even operating today, which is interesting because they gave me a skip the line ticket for it. So I guess we're getting that one exchanged. But here's the deal. If you can, I highly recommend using a skip the line ticket on this ride, or catch it early in the day, just because of how slow moving the line is. It's still my number 3 coaster in the park, but barely. I mean, it's a coaster model that's pretty rare for the Six Flags chain. You only see 2 Gerstlauer Eurofighters. I think the other one is Tantrum at Darien Lake. But honestly, the best part of this ride, and it's gonna be hard to, maybe I can focus in on it, is just like throwing your hands up during that Heartline roll and just getting some crazy hang time. Another thing that has changed since my March 2020 vlog is that Gotham City is reopened, and we've got some new rides and attractions like Poison Ivy. There's the Harley Quinn Tilt-A-Whirl, or Wild Whirl, excuse me. Oh yeah, and this message plays like seriously every 10 minutes. Do the 6, people. Catwoman Whip. So yeah, Batman the Ride, of course, that reopened. I wasn't able to ride that in March. One thing that has not reopened, however, is the newly christened the Riddler Mindbender. Not a huge fan of that sign, but if you look closely, you can see the old logo, not the exact same sign that used to be right here, but the old logo in the station. Do you hear all that bell ringing? That's like a new thing the game attendants are doing. I don't remember them doing this a month ago. It's like, imagine if 8 Salvation Army bell ringers all lined up in a row and started really over enthusiastically ringing their bells all at the same time. That's basically what standing in this plaza for any amount of time is going to sound like. And it's driving me nuts. All right, so just got off Goliath, had a great airtime filled ride, lots of room. Shout out to the ride op. Yeah, I remember back in my March 2020 video, I remarked about how I got crazy stapled and missed out on some killer airtime. And unfortunately, you do get stapled on the majority of the coasters here, but there have been a few exceptions later in the year. I'd say like 25% of the time I haven't gotten stapled. And it's really opened my eyes to how great of a hyper Goliath is. And I know it's not the tallest hyper, but you consider like the 9 moments of airtime, the crazy helix as you begin to turn around to the station, and the fact that it only has 1 trim. You can see how this really could be the best ride in the park. Again, when you're not stapled. That's the caveat. There's Joker Funhouse Coaster. Picked up a few rides on this season. I mean, it's a family coaster. It's got some fun laterals, but not much else. I mean, I'd love to see another high thrill coaster come to this park, but we could really use a coaster that really bridges the intensity gap between Joker or the Mine Train, which is right back here in the distance. And then everything else. So it's like Joker Funhouse Coaster, Mine Train, and then take your pick. What's next? Great American Scream Machine, Blue Hawk, Mindbender. So I really think like we could use something like an Intamin motorbike coaster, similar to SeaWorld San Antonio's Wave Breaker. I don't know. Looks like nothing's going on here. Maybe we could use this plot of land for something like that. I don't want to say Pandemonium Clone, because I'm not a big fan of the Pandemonium clones and spinning coasters in general. But yeah, an intermediate coaster is really needed here. And looks like there's a whole bunch of nothing happening where Splashwater Falls used to be. So I say put it right here. Superman Ultimate Flight, the original B&M Flyer. There's the sign. And the Pretzel Loop, which I'm not getting it from a good angle, but it is definitely the most intense element of any coaster here at Over Georgia. You know, beyond that though, the ride's pretty graceful and it's got a great terrain setting. What I am not a fan of is sitting in that flying position, and I'm gonna zoom in here because you can see when you're just sitting on the brake run, that is super uncomfortable and I get really claustrophobic. So I didn't do this back in March when I did my original vlog because the line was so long and they were only running 1 train. But when they only run 1 train, you also don't have to worry about sitting on the brake run, which is fantastic. It's fun to do with friends, but when I'm by myself, because of how claustrophobic I get, I usually will skip it. So back in March, Great American Scream Machine was not opened. They were doing some track work to the first half of the ride. I believe they were finishing it up. But the back half of the ride is still just as rough as ever. And I know there's some people who are not bothered by that. I am not one of those people. So if you like Great American Scream Machine for what it is, that's fantastic. I can ride it in the front. That's what I've learned. But if I do it anywhere else, especially towards the back, I mean, this is just a rough ride. In fact, I dare say this is a great candidate for GCI Titan Track. So GCI, if you happen to be watching my video for some odd reason, make it happen. Just got off Blue Hawk and had a fantastic ride. I'd say this ride is the biggest winner for me of the 2020 season. I remember this ride as Ninja. It was red, it was rough, and then there's some track work done, smoothed some stuff out. We've got the new Vekoma trains. It's always funny how this ride seems like it's going to stall at the very top. Wait for it. Just kind of pauses for a second before dropping. And there it goes. Either way, track was smoothed out, new trains, virtually eliminates all the headbanging. And this ride's got some great elements. It's got the butterfly loop. It's got numerous head choppers. And so if you haven't ridden Blue Hawk in a while, especially if you last rode it as Ninja, come out, give it another shot. I think it's worth a try. For me, this is probably slowly becoming the #3 ride in the park. Yes, I truly believe that. Inching up on Daredevil Dive. I know everyone's preferences will vary, but yes, give Blue Hawk a try if you haven't done it in a long time. My biggest winner at Six Flags Over Georgia in the last 9 months. One thing that I always forget about is that there's a severe lack of bathrooms in the lick skillet area of the park. All right, so good news, Daredevil Dive opened. Bad news, they are running one train. Can you imagine? I don't think it's right to, I guess you can call it a train, but each car holds 6 people. And as I mentioned earlier, this has some of the worst capacity in the entire park. And the line moves incredibly slow. And if there's people in the fast pass lane or we skip the line tickets, then the line doesn't move at all. However, all of that aside, terrible capacity and one train operations or one car operations, this is still probably going to be my 3rd favorite ride in the park. I know I said I was debating between that and Blue Hawk, but Daredevil Dive is just so much fun. And someone brought this up in an Instagram post, and I'll say it here too. It's pretty quiet. Here it comes. All right, Daredevil Dive. I'm not waiting in this line. All right, so that's it from here at Six Flags over Georgia. I decided just to go ahead and call it a little early. I was originally filming this inside the park, but an upset guest made their way into the shot. Figured, let's not keep that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out this vlog just with some final thoughts, especially as I reflect back on the March 2020 vlog here at Six Flags over Georgia. Just look at some things about the park in general, about my coaster season in general, and then that'll be it. That'll conclude my look back on the March 2020 vlog and the differences between then and now, January 3rd, 2021. So I hope you enjoy it. When I think back to what else has changed since my initial Six Flags over Georgia vlog, the obvious are the closures and impact from the COVID-19 pandemic. First thing that struck me was when I made my initial visit in March, I skipped certain credits like Superman, and I didn't wait for Blue Hawk to open. And I said to myself, I'll come back next weekend. Problem was, there wasn't a next weekend. The park never reopened until mid-June. And that lit a fire under me to not take anything for granted and to maximize my opportunities. In a truncated season, I was able to still pick up 145 credits, and I fully believe my motivation was because you never know when these opportunities can be taken away from you. Park environment and operations have been modified to reduce health risks. Face coverings throughout the park, distancing markers in the queue, and partial train loading all became a reality. The only thing that's been restored to pre-COVID systems is that here in Georgia, we're back to loading full trains, and that's owed to the physical barriers in the loading station. COVID impacts aside, when I look back at my initial vlog from March, the whole idea of my channel shifted from a YouTube coaster review and ranking channel to an Instagram page where I share my coaster photos and chronicle my journey to ride 500 coasters. I picked up coaster photography as a hobby and bought my first DSLR camera, a Canon Rebel T6. I taught myself photography and Lightroom basics and continue to develop my skills as a photographer. I kept a YouTube page for longer videos such as this, so now seems like a good time to do the hard sell and ask you to subscribe. Finally, as I look back on having Six Flags over Georgia as a home park, I must say I appreciate our coaster collection. We are one of 2 US Six Flags parks that has both an RMC Hybrid and a B&M Hyper in their lineup. We are also one of 2 Six Flags parks that has a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. We have 2 good steel loopers in Blue Hawk and Mindbender when it reopens, amongst other coasters. And even though I focus on coasters, I can't forget classic dark rides like Monster Mansion and newer attractions like the Battle for Metropolis, or even great flat rides like Pandemonium. So that's it for my reflection on the initial March 2020 Six Flags over Georgia vlog, and all I can say is here's hoping for a great 2021 coaster season.